Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Axel jam si Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do dede. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Bisul mu fine.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave. Bisul mu fine? Wave. Your money is yours.
If you'd like to advertise on the program, get in touch with Mr. Jibril Jassi on 699-0107, 787-0107 or 924-2424. You're watching and listening to Coffee Time with Peter Gomez on West Coast Radio on Thursday, the 19th of June, 2025. Time now to introduce today's guest. And as I said at the top of the program, he's a multi-talented Gambian technologist, writer, and educator. His mission? To empower Gambia through tech by founding an AI firm, promoting digital literacy, and using his voice in literature and social discourse. He bridges global tech experience with local needs, aiming to build a more connected, skilled, and equitable society. Well, that's what you will find on ChatGPT about Amran Gaye. But I want to find out a lot more about Amran. Amran, welcome to West Coast Radio.
Thank you for having me.
Fantastic.
First, it's an honor to be here. We've all listened to your show. You're doing a lot of really good work.
Thank you.
That was a nice surprise at the start with ChatGPT. That's really what it said about me?
That's what it says about you. You never knew you didn't recognize yourself in that description.
It's a bit, exaggerated, but yeah.
Let's start with your background and education, because still, you just said you're born and raised in Banjul.
Yeah, I'm a Noga Banjul. I guess just like you.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was born there. My dad was Imam Alhaji Tafsir Gaye.
Very good friend of mine.
Yes,
May his soul rest in peace.
I mean. So, and my mom, she's listening, so I have to mention her, Ajiyama Gaye. Lancaster 43 down near Soldier Town. So growing up, I was kind of lucky because my parents just prioritized reading and learning so much. In fact, I wasn't allowed to go anywhere without permission except the library. So with the library, I could go. So I just went there, spent my whole day outside of school there. And I think I learned more at the library than I did even in school. And then after that, and I also used to Jang Al-Quran on the TV.
Absolutely.
To end the doc when I was
on
GRTS, yes, on GRTS, announced doc BA. So I grew up there. I went to Reverend J.C. High School. I did the O levels, and then I did the SATs and got a scholarship to the University of Maryland. When I went there, I studied computer science for 4 years. And then after that, I moved around America and worked at various places, including the U.S. visa portal management system. And then I finally ended up at Goldman Sachs. I was there for a couple of years. And then in 2016, after everything went down and the impasse was resolved, I decided to come home and try and use my technological skills here. So I started a IT company, a software development company called Dundal Systems. So I ran that for about 3 years, and then I got an opportunity to work at Google. So I went to Canada for that. I was there for about 3 years. But I've been running a lot of projects remotely, which we'll get to in a bit. So I decided that it's time to come back home, because I consider being out there an education, not necessarily a formal one, but just an education in how government systems should run, the order a country should have, how to get rid of all the chaos and make this a better country. So I thought that I had learned enough to, both from Google and from their democracy and the way they run their countries, to come back and try and change this country. Because I feel like, at least for me, You can be outside and talk and, you know, criticize and all of that. But it's better when you have your feet on the ground, when you're actually inside the playing field, suffering in the ways we suffer down here, but also using that suffering to try and push the country forward. Yeah, basically.
Fantastic,
So
fantastic.
yeah.
It's interesting that, you know, being the son of one of the greatest Islamic scholars of this country, at least, you know, of his time, that, you know, you lend more towards Western education than, you know, Arabic, Islamic, you know, education. How did, you know, you arrive at that?
I mean, growing up, I did get both. Because I was one of the, I don't know if I was lucky or unlucky, but I had the Dara inside my house because my dad was the Ustaz. So it wasn't like every weekend you go to Dara for an hour. It was like every single day I had to Dara twice a day. And then mix that with the English. But I never really gravitated towards a religious career. It's always been computers for me since I discovered them.
Was that ever a problem between you and your dad?
Oh, no, not at all, not at all. I mean, he taught us the religion, but then he just encouraged us in whatever career we chose. As he said, as long as the liye is low and you're actually, you know, earning the money, halal, exactly, yeah, then that's all he cared about. And that as long as you work hard, he was okay with that. Yeah, so that was, and it's a bit hard here for like ustazis and imams and stuff. When you go that route where you don't learn any English, you just do Arabic. I saw a lot of them come back from Dara, and all they could do was like be hired as a local imam or be an ustaz at a Dara or find some other way to Rabaraba. So it wasn't very practical to just go the Arabic route. So I did both. But in Gambia, of course, the English one goes further than the Arabic one. So I just traveled down that path, yeah.
All right. Let's delve more into your professional career.
Yeah.
You know, the need to found your own AI company and all of that. Experience, you know, working in Canada and the stuff. We have time.
Okay, so like I said, Canada was an education. I went there at a time when I moved to this completely new place, and my building where I rented was new too. And you could see around me when I first moved in, it was all rocks and sand and, you know, whatnot. But every single day when I went for my evening walk, more houses were springing up until the whole neighborhood was turned into this real estate, like for people. Then people started moving in. They installed postal boxes. They built a community center. I could see it all, like from the ground up, from nothing, turning into this great community with people moving in with their kids, people doing movie nights, people playing football and all of that. And then they built a library, a community center, all of those things. At the same time, I was reading a book called The Years of Lyndon B. Johnson by Robert Caro. So it's a 4-part series. I think there's one left. So right now they're up to like 4,000 pages. So I did that in tandem. I would walk at Google during the day. I would go for a walk and see everything around me and see how they were making order out of the chaos. And then I'd go home and read this book that was overtly about President Lyndon B. Johnson, but actually...
U.S. president.
The U.S. president, yes. The one who passed the Civil Rights Bill during MLK and their time. Yeah.
Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King, yeah. So, but the book was more about democracy in general, about power, about how it's acquired, how it's used, how it's, you know, distributed. Now, before I went to Canada, I had a few things I wanted to work on. I had a few ideas I wanted to work on to develop Gambia. But they were small ideas, like maybe giving scholarships to, you know, a certain group of people, trying to teach another group of people programming, you know, just sharing my skills. But reading this, I saw LBJ and his vision for America, and how it was to affect millions of people, not just, you know, small groups or hundreds or thousands. I'm so sorry, I moved my
That's all right. That's okay.
Yeah, so that kind of made my appetite for dreaming bigger. So it made me want to not just change Gambia one person at a time, but to change it hundreds of thousands of people.
But not to change it politically.
No, I want to move. I'm trying to walk completely outside of the political system because I'm trying to reach all Gambians. But the thing here is once you start falling on either one side or the other, suddenly it's impossible. Like, for example, you're with the opposition, you can't work with government. You're with government, people outside view your work suspiciously. So yes, I'm ready to work with anyone, whether it's government, whether it's NGOs or whatever. But I'm trying to keep as unpolitical or apolitical as possible. So I started thinking about ways in which I could change Gambia in those big ways that I thought about. Because Lyndon B. Johnson, they also started from nothing. He started from one of the poorest areas of Texas and made it all the way to the presidency. And it also made me understand American democracy better and the way it's set up, even the congressional system, where you have the House and then you have the Senate. The House was supposed to be for the people, but the Senate was supposed to protect the aristocrats who founded the government.
Ah.
Yeah, so it was, that's why they set the number of people to 2 a state, whereas the House was proportional. So the House was supposed to be for the tempers of the people, for their latest thoughts, their latest passions, and then the Senate was supposed to slow down that temper because government's supposed to move slowly and stuff. So anyway, coming back to the Gambia, like I said, so I started thinking about ways in which I could do stuff from out there. So the first thing I did was some coding classes for kids. So I had about 30 kids from all over the world, Gambian kids. And we did it remotely, and I taught them how to code. And it was an amazing
Was that the
experience.
beginning of Digital Wolof? Digital Jollof.
Digital Jollof, that's the one, yeah. So the kids coding was one part. I also had website creation. I had AI. So I just got a bunch of people, Gambians, who were also interested in volunteering, and we did that. And the kids were amazing. Like I was like, so it made me realize that Gambian kids just don't have the opportunities that they need, but we have some really clever. Like the saying goes, talent is evenly distributed, but opportunity is not. So I started feeling that my people need opportunities, first of all, to be able to reach their full potential. Because even this back way, it robs us of the youth's lives, but also robs us of their potential. Because even if they make it, they're out there in adult nursing homes, they're doing all kinds of, tedious work. And that means the opportunity cost of that is that we have lost someone who could be a scientist, someone who could be an engineer, a doctor, a nurse, all of that. So finding them things to do here is very, very important. Hence the digital jollof, the education. We don't really have natural resources. We have human resources. So we train those human resources, and they'll be even better in this age that we live in than any natural resources that we could have. So I started with Digital Jollof. I brought in Gambians, like I said, to help me run it. And then we created syllabuses and stuff, and we ran through the whole program. So my next step, which I haven't been able to do yet, was to take that model and then work with the Ministry of Education to spread it across the country. Because I've already built it, I can train teachers who can train students in it, and then the older students will teach younger students and stuff. So that was the first one with Digital Jollof. That's on the education part. I've also been doing AI workshops and all of that. By the way, all of this is for Gambia, so I do it pro bono. So it's different, from my business work. So everything I'm describing now is just stuff I've been doing for Gambia. So I have my private business, that's to pay the bills, but the Gambia stuff, I don't really try to make money off of it.
Even if you were to develop this syllabus that's going to be,
I was ready to give it out for free. I was ready to do the training.
Well, MOPSI should come running after you.
I know, but it's kind of hard here to get into government, especially as Gambians.
It's hard?
It's kind of hard.
You've been reaching out to MOPSI and not making any headway, or what?
I don't want to put them on the spot, but let's just say in general, it's kind of hard to penetrate government with these projects that are completely pro bono. But if it's like something that comes with outside funding, then it's a lot easier to manage.
Dear.
Yeah, so that's, like I said, I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but that's just been my experience. Of course, there are exceptions. I've worked with a few people in government. I won't name any, I'll just say.
Well, there's a new MOPSI minister, and I suppose,
maybe she'll hear this.
She's proactive. She'll definitely hear this. And we have our way with the permanent secretary as well. So,
there you go.
I mean, we can easily set up a meeting, and hopefully, I mean,
that works.
this will definitely benefit Gambian children. We're talking about,
and not just kids too, like all the way up to high school.
Okay, but particularly children. Because the talk in education circles now is quality education.
And I'll come to that in a bit too with the AI part. Because it's very grim. Our results every year, the high school pass rate.
The WAS results.
So we can change that. But I'll come to that later. Yeah, so I created all these syllabuses, and I'm like I said, I'm ready to help them deploy it to all schools in Gambia. And then the second thing, I started working on a library project. So, like I said, the library was my second home when I was a child. I learned everything I learned there. I had the Encyclopedia Britannica before Wikipedia. So I just go there, open up, go from entry to entry. And they had all kinds of series from like Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys to the African Writers series to, all
AWS.
Yes, AWS. Does that still exist even?
Good question.
Because that would make a good archive.
Yeah,
It featured
absolutely.
everyone from Nadine Goma, Gordima to Chinua Achebe to Wole Soyinka, all of them. Yeah. So I wanted to give that experience, basically, to other Gambians, to other Gambian youth. But the thing is, with libraries outside, in Gambia, we still think of libraries as this dusty
Exactly.
place
I was going to say,
full of
people
books.
generally believe that Gambians don't read. What's the what's the need for a library?
No, but Gambians do read. They just don't read books. You know what I mean? Everyone's on their phones all the time. Everyone's reading essays.
Yes.
Even watching YouTube is a form of reading if you are learning from it and stuff. Yeah. So it's not that they don't read. It's that the medium we're trying to force them into just doesn't work. And that's worldwide. Books are just falling. The number of people who finish a book. I think I saw a survey in the US. It was like 35%. The number of people who finished a book in a year, just one book. So you can imagine, even in those advanced economists, it's the fault of the internet. I love the internet, but sometimes I don't know if it was the best thing because the notifications that, there's just so much digital crack, as they call it, that you turn towards it. Yeah. So I wanted to build a library that would be a modern library like they have in the West, where you have free Wi-Fi for the community. Of course, you have books, you have story time for the kids, you have all of these different kinds of activities that the community can benefit from. So I wanted to do that with the National Library by creating a digital center. So at the digital center, I was trying to cater to as wide as
So you wanted to do that. Did you approach the
it's done.
national... Oh, it's done. Okay.
So I wanted to open it up as much as possible to serve as wide a swath of Gambians as possible. I got all of this I got from donations, by the way, and then me and my people did the work voluntarily. And we work directly with that. By the way, Babakar Sanyang, the director at the library, he's one of the people in government that I can hold up as someone who was open to working with us from the beginning. Yeah, he's put in the work. He's always, he's ready, basically.
You expected no inducements and whatever?
Yeah, no, nothing. He was just on board from the beginning.
Well done, Babakar. We need more Babakars.
We need more of that. And his boss, Auntie Matilda, because that's who I started with, but she was... retiring, so she handed me over. Yeah, so I got some computers, I think about 20 MacBooks and then about 10 HP computers. So I set those all up so we can use those for coding and stuff. But I also set up a research station. That was a computer connected to the internet with like Google Books and stuff, so kids can go there and do research for their papers. But I also set up a screen reader, because one thing that we'll leave out is visually impaired people, like all the time, yeah. And when
what does a screen reader do?
It reads the screen to you, literally. So instead of, because you can't see it, So it just converts everything on your screen into audio.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So we have that at the National Library.
Yeah, we have that set up. And in fact, I also invited Govi because I spoke to them and they face a lot
Gambia
of
Organization
challenges for the
Visually Impaired. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I gave them a couple of computers also from the donated ones with screen readers installed for their students. But okay, I'll come back to Govi later. Remind me. So yeah, I set that up. And then the idea is that we're going to have activities there at the library. So we got a projector donated. So we'll be doing educational movie nights, like on weekends. Because one thing is that the youths and kids here don't have a lot to do, which is why they have enough free time to go do drugs and all of that. So we want to do movie nights at least monthly. So we have that set up. Then we'll have the coding classes. And then you have all of these kids who can afford study teacher at school.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
And then you have some teachers who hide some of the material until it's time for studies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking we'll hire a community study teacher.
That should be illegal, huh?
I know, but what
because what
you are not allowed to pana.
Exactly,
Some of it will
what parents pay for is tuition. I mean, during daytime. I mean, you don't say, well, listen, during what is legally, what I work for, I'm not going to teach this.
Yeah. Or I'll give you half an exam. You have to pay to take the rest of the exam.
It's just not fun.
So the idea is to get one teacher, pay them, and then there will be the community study teacher. So any kids who can afford to go to studies can just come to the library and get free studies.
Is this a model you saw somewhere?
No.
Oh,
I just
these are just
something
ideas
that I've been thinking about the whole time I was in Canada. Yeah, so we have that, and then we'll teach also the high school students to do studies for the ones below them, which is a good way for them to give back. So we had the community study teacher. We have the movie nights. I also want to do story time for kids. So I'll bring in some adult writer or whatever, and then they can come in, and they'll just, at least they can spend an hour or two there, kind of like daycare. And then I want to do senior citizen tech education. So what happens here is, like my mom, every time she needs to change Wi-Fi, download an app, like things like that, they always have to call someone.
Yeah, we're always struggling with Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
I mean, people call me in the morning, you're not streaming this morning. And I say, well, as far as we're concerned, everything looks okay.
Exactly. And the same with apps and stuff, YouTube, TikTok, all of that. So I want to do like maybe 1 or 2 hour sessions on a weekend where I just sit them down and then just walk them through each of those and how they work. Yeah, and then do that a couple of times until we cover everyone in the area. So education is not limited to just people in school. It's an ongoing, like
Absolutely.
I said, we have human resources. We just don't have natural ones. Yeah. So once all of that is set up, I'm also working on a digital catalog system, because right now we've been using paper catalogs since time in Jawar. So I'm working on a digital catalog system. So what that will give us is people will be able to log in from anywhere in Gambia, see what books are available, reserve them, and then come and pick them up at the library. So
Fantastic.
That's another thing. Yeah.
Very ambitious project.
Yeah.
Very ambitious project. We're talking to Amran Gaye. He is engaged in education and all of that. But you're not just interested in education. Yeah. Agriculture.
Okay. Before we come to agriculture.
Oh, yeah, he's still on education, yes.
There's at the library, they have this Gambiana archive. I don't know if you know about it.
No.
It has...
I haven't been in that library for
a while. Yes. Yeah, they've had it there for a couple of decades. And it contains everything going back to independence, pamphlets. I think there was a magazine called Nanan or something that they used to do. So all of that is there, going back to like Mongo Park. But it's just on the shelves, it's falling apart. So part of this project is to scan all of that, put it in the cloud, and then we put the books themselves into long-term storage. So now anyone can go online and search for, like, I don't know, Per Sarnjai, and then see every document related to him. So that's another thing we're working on. That one's a bit more ambitious, so I'm pushing towards it. But for that too, government help would make me move like that. Like it would make things a lot
So you
faster.
would like to have government
That
support?
would be excellent, because I wanted to start with the Guyana archives as kind of a model first, and then I want to do the whole national archives. Like we just put all of them digitally online, and then they will just be preserved.
That would be great
Yeah,
for
so
the
everyone-
university. Now we have universities
Exactly.
springing up everywhere.
Exactly.
On Saturday, you know, the USET is going to be
Yeah.
inaugurated by
There
the
you go.
president.
There you go.
How,
So,
how
yeah.
nice would it be, you know,
Would
to,
it be
just
to
sit
have
here
that?
now. If I wanted to look up something
Yeah.
in the library right now, just,
Yep.
you know,
just go online,
hit a
and-
few keys and
see it. Yeah.
bravo.
So it's invaluable for research, for just checking. And then finally, once I have the library in Gambia, in Banjul, I don't want to take that model and spread it all the way up the country. But in each one, in each subsequent one, we don't need a full library. We just need a digital center. And then they can connect to the main library and participate in all the events, whether it's the senior citizen, whether it's the... So in each community, we'll have this center of knowledge. It's no longer just a library. It's a place where the mayor and park can come to learn, where, people will come to do events. We'll have all of that. And then I want to start chess and Scrabble championships again. We used to have those in Gambia. Yeah, so I already have someone who's...
Why select those two, chess and
just
Scrabble?
for a start. Do you have any other suggestions?
Are they easier? Well, I'm into
Ludo?
I'm into Scrabble. I spend a lot
There
of
you
hours
go.
on my mobile
There
phone,
go.
just playing
So,
Scrabble.
playing Scrabble, yeah. I think we used to have those in Banjul too when I was younger. Yeah, so start that again, and then have like nationwide championships and stuff where all the students come, and then things like debating competitions will be much easier because you can connect everyone remotely. Yeah, so those are some of the things I'm working on the library project specifically.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's been going.
And we can broadly, classify that under education. Let's talk
Yes.
about agriculture.
Yes.
Your, digital literacy advocacy, how it, touches on and impact agriculture.
Agriculture. Okay, so I guess we'll get more to AI later. Well, first of all, let me say, whenever you're talking about advanced technology here, people are always like, we have problems getting rice, we have food problems, we have health problems.
Which is true.
No, but that's because they're looking at it the wrong way. Because technology is not a destination, it's the vehicle that takes us to where we want to go. Yes. So, for example, with the agricultural system,
Yes.
right now, I think we can categorize the main problem our farmers face as a lack of information. So this information can be about upcoming weather patterns. It can be about incoming pests. It can be the price, the world grain prices, so they can compare.
Yep.
It can be information from other farmers around them regarding their farming community and stuff. But the main obstacle to doing this is English. So English is
The medium of communication.
the medium of communication. So English is great. It connects us to the outside world, but it's horrible because it acts as a barrier.
Yeah.
So you can have the most, intelligent Gambian in the world. If they can't speak English, that's just cut them off. It's cut them off from schooling, from work, from everything else. That's no longer a problem with AI. So right now, for example, ChatGPT and them, they can speak to you and you can speak to them. So they have a voice interface. But of course,
even in Wolof and
no,
Sarok.
that's where I'm coming. That's where I'm coming. So they have voice interfaces for all of that. So I want to take that and then build it in Olaf, in Mandinka, in Fula, all our languages. So what happens then is that all these farmers, they'll be able to use their phones with something called a voice-first interface, where they don't type or do click menu. They just talk to the device in Olaf. So they'll be like, settle my grain prices in Yatala, whether be like lala neka, send al mamudu message, wakali.
Look at Senegal.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be like perfect Olaf. You just talk, then normally
really?
talk. Yeah. So that's one thing I want to build, because that will also teach them. For example, speaking to farmers abroad, they have told me things like if we just upgraded our farming techniques, we could use like 1/3 of the land we use right now to create a greater yield than everything we're doing right now. If we just upgraded, and added new farming techniques. So having the AI in Olaf or Mandinka or whatever, it can also instruct you in those farming techniques. I can do things like go out there and get you tractors that are being donated or that are being sold at a low price, and it can get them. So it acts as an agent on your behalf, basically. So
an agent that doesn't ask you for a bribe.
Never a bribe. Never. That's a huge thing with digitizing our government. It removes all of those possibilities. Which kind of makes it hard to proceed sometimes, because you have people who don't want, that kind of oversight on them. So once we have that, and the cool thing is this is not science fiction. This is possible right now, and I've already started working on it. But again, I need support. Like, I can't do it on my own. It's a huge project, but I've been volunteering my own time, and I've made some progress. An example.
And what kind of support do you want? It's not knowledge. It's not know-how.
I have the knowledge. Now I need the resources.
The resources
AI is expensive.
To buy the hardware or what?
To build the AI system itself, because it takes a lot of compute and stuff. And then just to show you that this is not necessarily, once the AI system is built, that's the expensive part. But the farmers will be able to use like $100 Android phones to access it. So once the government sponsored that and set it up, or whichever org set it up, then it will be very easy to just distribute those phones and then just teach the farmers. So they're actually doing it in Iceland, because they have this problem where Icelandic was just being replaced by English. You know, the way English just comes and chokes your language and kills it and takes over. So they worked with OpenAI. That's a company that does ChatGPT. And they were able to encode the Icelandic language and teach the AI. And now they can all just speak to their computers in Icelandic, and it does what they want. And this lets them access things like government services, directly without having to learn English. So I think going with those voice-first interfaces lets us reach, people who are not necessarily educated, and then that gives them all the information that they need to then carry out their farming operations. And then another thing is things like seed delivery, because it's hard, especially as you go further up country. But for that too, we can have drones that are controlled by AI that you just attach that package to. It knows exactly where it's going. It goes to that location, it drops it off. And it never gets tired, it never, and it can travel the length of the Gambia in like an hour or something, because it's flying. So if you have a network of those, like maybe the government or anything has a network of those, we can then send them out to provide whatever the farmers need in their various and then that would be useful for health too, but I guess we'll come to health.
All right, exactly. I was going to say so MOPSE finds themselves in this conversation now. The Ministry of Agriculture, what about health? Which is a huge challenge.
Health is the biggest
for this
one.
country. Yes.
So just in terms of experience, I've built a full medical record system for Buffalo Hospital.
You have?
Yeah. It currently serves about 100,000 patient records.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they use it from when you enter the hospital, when you register, all the way until you leave and pay your bill. So that includes pharmacy, stock and inventory, any tests you take, if you're an inpatient, which room you're in, it monitors everything. So that's what I want to take and build it at a national level. So what happens right now is if you go to one hospital, they have your records, they're on paper. It's almost impossible to find when you come a year later. And there's absolutely no sharing between the different hospitals, private or public. So my vision is when you're born, you get a government health ID, which is attached to you, and then which goes into a national healthcare system, an electronic healthcare system. So then any interactions you have, whether with public hospitals or private ones, those go in there. So any meds you're given, any diagnosis, so that will follow you for your whole life as a Gambian, basically. So we have a whole medical history, which is already useful for future treatment. So doctors don't have to go through everything again. But then you put all of those together, you have 2 million patient records, like in great detail, showing what's wrong with every single Gambian, what they're going through, which meds we need, and all of that. That information is invaluable to the health ministry, because now they can even do things like track seasonal sicknesses. So the system could figure out how much medicine we need for malaria for this rainy season. So we order that amount exactly, so we don't have to order more or order less and then fall short or have too much. So it can help with things like that, with predictive analysis. So even at cabinet level, the president and his ministers could sit there and just ask the AI questions directly about the health system in Gambia. So
that would be interesting.
That would be
so the minister tells President Barrow one thing, and Barrow decides, well, let me ask AI. I mean,
hopefully it aligns. Hopefully it aligns.
I'm saying
otherwise AI is wrong.
I'm saying it doesn't. Exactly.
Otherwise we'll just say AI is wrong and then do a addendum later. So
forget about AI. Who said AI was intelligent?
Exactly. So they can project a screen and just go through. So it lets us then do things like we have a really big high blood pressure problem in the country. People have high blood. Diabetes is another big one.
Diabetes and tension.
Tension. Sure, it's another one. Tension. Yeah. So when you have all the data about all of the people suffering from this, you can then do longitudinal studies to figure out, do we need to change our diet long term? The AI can also do projections to the level of granularity that you could say, what if we reduced salt imports by raising the salt tax, the tariffs on salt? How would that affect our health?
Yeah, maybe and not salt, but jumbo and all these
jumbo,
other,
I see you like salt.
Actually, I don't.
Yeah, so jumbo or anything else, and then the AI could make predictions based on that, on how it would affect the high blood pressure rate, and then you can make that use that to make decisions about how much salt to. So it just gives us a data-driven approach. So there's no guesswork. We know exactly what we want. We know exactly the objective we're going for. So we test until we have what we want. So that's one part of it. Another part of the healthcare system that I think we could. Okay, so imagine we don't have a lot of resources healthcare-wise either. That's another problem.
Resources in terms of?
In terms of just the budget to cover the whole Gambia. We don't. You seem to disagree?
Well, I mean, a lot goes into the health sector.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Both in terms of the taxes we raise locally and support from outside.
That's true, but I'm not sure the government has enough resources to cover the Gambia. But you know more than me about this. But I feel like we'll all need to basically chip in, and I don't mean just monetarily. We all need to chip in with our knowledge and stuff. Yeah. So my vision is to have the central health system in Banjul, like the central hospital.
EFSTH, Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital. Yeah.
So we have in this scenario, we have like our best doctors and stuff over there. Now, in each place, as we go up the country, all you need is in each community some kind of telehealth center. So what we'll have there is, it will be a small kind of pop-up clinic. You have maybe 2 nurses and you have an AI technician, and then you have all the testing devices. So what happens is when a patient comes in, we already have their full health record in Banjul with the AI system. So the nurse will ask them questions, fill the form, take any tests that are necessary, enter the results, and then all of that will be sent to the AI, the main AI at the main hospital in Gambia. So because the AI doesn't get tired, as long as it has electricity, it will keep running. It can run through hundreds of thousands of those every day and be able to give a diagnosis. Now, once it comes up with a diagnosis, it then informs the doctor. That's the main doctor at the hospital, so they can confirm. So then that lets the doctor move through a lot of cases because they just go through, they confirm the prescriptions that the AI made. Once that is done, the AI then sends out a requisition order automatically to stock. So the stock system, on the next drone flight, they put all of the meds and supplies that should go to that place, which are all automatically done because the AI has figured it out. So you put in a drone, the drone goes and drops off the meds or whatever else they need. The person comes to that telecenter and picks it up, and then they can come for follow-up tests. So the AI will notice and send a notification saying, hey, we gave them this treatment a month ago, we need them to come back in. And then the AI can even send a text to the person or give them a call to come in. So using that drone system, now you have eliminated the need for, like, you don't need roads and cars for every single thing and all of the expense and stuff of traveling up country, coming back down, PDMs, drivers.
President Barrow, are you listening in terms of your infrastructure?
Exactly. So we can bypass, at least when it comes to the healthcare system. And again, these are cheap technologies that are already being used all over the world. Like, you can get a drone for something like $3,000. And use it for the next, 4 years.
$3,000 is in excess of $200,000.
Yeah.
So the dollar is so strong now against the dollar.
Yeah, but that's a single drone that can deliver. Like, just imagine how much just essence that's saving you, let alone the drivers you have to hire, the cars.
And the drone will serve you what? 5-10 years?
Yeah, however long. And it won't be just what? It can travel to like 10 different communities in one day.
Very good.
Yeah, so you have them, and they're reusable. They'll just be coming in and out. They don't really care about the people. Or their whole job is to come. The AI does what's to be packed. Maybe a human takes it all, packs it into the box, and the drone does what it needs to do and takes it there. So you also have since you have the health record system that we spoke about, you can go to any hospital wherever you're staying in Gambia. And since your record is already there, you can just do your tests and stuff there. So the AI technician will be there to help with the technical part. And that's all you need, those 3-person teams all up and down the country. So yeah, that's my vision of what we could have with healthcare. But again, for this one, the government would need to be on board.
Fantastic.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Excellent jam, Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do dede. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello? Ano lay waxal?
Bisul mu fine.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Accina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave. Bisul mu fine? Wave. Your money is yours.